All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about what Jaron Ennis says that he wants out of Terence Crawford, and some pretty shocking statements that came out of his mouth yesterday about a fight between the two. Let's do that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we're going to talk about the 147 pounds and two of the three best welterweights in the world, Jaron Boots Ennis and Terence Bud Crawford. But before I do that, let me make sure that I say thank you for subscribing to the channel. If you're not subscribed, please hit the bell. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And also, if you would not mind, support us over on our sponsor, busr.ag/Fanon, our betting partner. If you bet on, we have all kind of different props and all kind of different values for you over there. So make sure you use the promotional code Fanon. All right, so let's get into this. Jaron Ennis ain't playing. Jaron Ennis was on an interview yesterday to Fight Hub, and he was talking about, a series of questions that he'd been asked before about, what he plans to do this year. When does he think he's going to get a championship shot and such? But this time, man, the way that he talked about it was even more animated than he usually is. And you really got a sense of what he thought about a fight with Errol Spence Jr. or a fight with Terence Crawford, and laid out his reasoning why he thinks that fight, he said not only does he think that he's going to win that fight, he says do not be surprised if those fights wind up being easy for him. Totally unimpressed with Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. and what they present to this dude in the ring. And he said, look, man, as much as you guys have seen me do, you've not seen me do half of what I can do. Because the thing that you guys don't understand is that I looked good in the first half of the fight, but nobody's seen me past the 6th round. And when I get past the 6th round, I get stronger and stronger and stronger as the rounds go on. And that's not anything that anybody's seen from me yet. So in talking about a fight with Terence Crawford, he said, first of all, he wants to fight this year, and that he's in a position with him or Errol Spence, that he's in a position to get that fight this year, and he thinks he's ready for that fight this year. And don't be surprised if he winds up stopping those guys or beating those guys very, very easily, man. And, one thing I'll tell you, he also talked about Shawn Porter and how he was kind of put off about Shawn Porter, and how Shawn Porter had said that he was overrated because he was getting, because people kept talking about how he was going to mop these other fighters, right? His whole attitude sounded like, yeah, man, what's the problem? I think that I will mop these other fighters. But it's funny that Shawn Porter would say those things about me, and then at the same time say that he's not going to fight me. So when I'm listening to this dude, man, really, it's a very, very confident fighter. He's somebody that is, I think coming out of his shell a little bit now because he's getting more and more publicity on him. And I know that the publicity itself is probably what irked Shawn Porter, and the fact that so many people are talking about him being a top welterweight. But even when Shawn Porter, was re-interviewed about it, and was asked, to clarify, he said he meant what he said, but at the same time, he changed the reasoning behind it. He kept the reasoning behind it, right? But said that maybe he overrated probably isn't the right word, man, for what he felt about Jaron Ennis, and said that he felt Jaron right now could hang with, they could probably beat everybody except for maybe, the top 4. And even then he has the ability to beat the top 3 welterweights, that being Terence Crawford, Errol Spence Jr., and Yordenis Ugas. But, he just doesn't think that it's a situation where, like everybody's saying that he's going to blow these guys away. Well, Jaron Ennis is not agreeing with that and saying, nah, man, it's a situation where I'm gonna blow these guys away. They're just not, they're not on my level. And there's a level that I can go to that other people have just not seen, man. So it's going to be really interesting, man. Personally, I said it on a podcast before, on the show before, there are people that come around in sports at times when there are other really great athletes, and really do prove that even though there's a lot of hype around them, that despite all of the hype around them, that they are still underrated, right? And there's plenty of examples of that. Like a great example of that is Floyd Mayweather Jr. in boxing and Michael Jordan in basketball. When Floyd Mayweather Jr. was coming up at 130 pounds, 135 pounds, there are a lot of people that were saying, hey, no, this guy is really the best fighter in the world. Top, he's better than Oscar De La Hoya. He's better than Roy Jones Jr. There were people saying that, right? And there were people saying this guy, is definitely the best under 135 pounds, all of which wound up being true. However, even having said all that stuff, it still did not really capture how good Floyd Mayweather Jr. actually was. And as we saw that, continuing on and going on. And there's a lot of things that Jaron Ennis has that made Floyd Mayweather Jr. very good. Like the fact that he has been in a gym and sparring professional level world-class fighters since he was 13, 14 years old. Same type of thing it was there for Floyd Mayweather Jr. when he was young and before he turned pro, sparring guys like Pernell Whitaker, right? And then you got Michael Jordan, right? Michael Jordan, it was another guy, man, who was, early in his career, people were talking about what a great basketball player he was, but at the same time, there was Magic Johnson there was Larry Bird there was Dr. J there, and many people, were kind of put off by the fact that people that were fans of Michael Jordan were saying, no, man, this dude is better than Dr. J. He's better than Michael Jordan. He's better than he's better than Larry Bird, right? And people were brushing that off, talking about how his teams weren't winning this, that, and the other thing. But eventually what winds up happening is that, over time, he really does continue to show it. And he proves that even though he was very, very highly rated, he was probably actually underrated for the vast majority, for a great amount of his career. And that very well could be the situation with Jaron Ennis. I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying that, like, when a kid has this type of confidence, the guy already has 28 professional fights. He's in the top three. He's in the top three of every sanctioning body. It is pretty much time, man, for these dudes to fight this guy. And for him to be able to prove it. And there's nothing wrong with him saying and believing that he'll stop Terence Crawford, or that he'll stop Errol Spence Jr. and he'll make those guys look like easy work. If that's what he believes, and he has, let me tell you, if anybody will, it would be him. Can't say for sure if that's going to be the case for sure. But, I'm not just going to just out of the blue say, no, man, this kid can't be better than, he can't be as good as people think he is. And he can't be better than people think he is, because it's only a matter of time until some fighter comes out and not only meets the expectations that he has for himself, he exceeds even his best fans' expectations. And that's how it was with Floyd Mayweather Jr. That's how it was with Muhammad Ali, with Michael Jordan. And that could be, and shoot, is how it was with Tiger Woods. Exceeded his biggest fans' expectations. That dude did. And it happens every once in a while. And it will happen again in boxing. And, the question is it Jaron Ennis or is it not Jaron Ennis? We'll see, provided these guys actually get in the ring with him and fight him. But anyway, that's my take on the circumstance. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.